here is the chart. The big two that we heard of: Jason Marshall is out indefinitely out for the rest of the season. Eugene Wilson is out. And look, I think people, this immediately causes red flags. It's like, oh, he's red shirt and all these good things. This man's been playing for the last 2 weeks. Go watch him play. He hasn't looked himself. He hasn't looked as explosive. Even when he catches the ball, he just hasn't looked like the elusive Eugene that we saw a year prior. And the best availability is available, and he hasn't really been available for us. And I don't think he's quit on this team. I think he's tried to get out there, and I think they realize, hey, it's not working. He got a scope, didn't he? Or is that just Montreal that got a scope? I thought he had one too on his knee.
Montreal got a scope. Eugene's got more of like a hip sort of injury there. But like the thing is like if you're hurt, and like you said, that the last 2 games, he didn't look the same. I can agree, he didn't look the same. Like, and people are like, oh, he's gonna redshirt, so he's gonna transfer. No, I mean, like if you're out and you're not gonna play the same, you're gonna be out a few more games. Why would you want to come back and play 1 or 2 or 3 more games at the end of the season and waste your redshirt? I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, I mean, look, at this point in the season, I think he's gone when he's could, and it's like when he was playing, he hasn't looked the best. So, yeah, I mean, at this point, it's a smart business decision, but it doesn't feel like the scenarios we saw. And I'll be the first to admit, when the whole drama of guys redshirting and quitting on teams happened, it felt like that he could have been doing that. And again, at the end of the day, it's a business decision. I don't feel like it's been that at all. I stand by that. It doesn't feel that way. The big ones we're going to look out for is Montreal Johnson. And people was like, oh, we've got Jaden Ball. I mean, that's true, but I think Montreal being back there is going to be huge, especially a game like Georgia. RJ Moten has played some fantastic football, so hopefully he'll be good to go. And Damian George has played some great football on that line. We don't need to see any disruption on that line, so hopefully this is turns into good.
Yeah, I mean, look, you're going to deal with injuries in the season. The staff knew that. Obviously, we were talking about the roster before the season, how deep it was. Well, now, I mean, look, you still have Badger, you still have DK, you still got Mazzell, you still got plenty of wide receiver talent back there. Granted, Mazzell may not be as experienced as those other 2 guys, but it's somebody you got with elite speed, somebody with a lot of skill. You got DJ Lagway throwing to these guys that are speed guys. Georgia has 2 players missing in the backfield for one half of the game because they got suspended for targeting the last game against Texas. So if I'm Florida, I'm taking advantage of that first half. And you know how Billy Napier likes to sit on it and sleep on it if he has a good first half. Like, look, I am trying to blow Georgia out in that first half because probably in that second half, they're going to make second half adjustments. They're going to get those guys back too and probably make Lagway's job harder on him. So if I'm Florida, I'm trying to cash in the first half because that second half might be a little bit more rough.
The Conway Titty, this is a good point. Where is Trayon Webb? He looked great. Now he's AWOL. Well, given the fact he's not on this list leads me to believe that he's good to go.
Yeah, he's good to go.
Yeah, so he's back because he was dealing with the injury. So that's fantastic news. So Trayon Webb, Jaden Ball, Montreal obviously may or may not go. So the running back room seems to be getting healthy, which is fantastic. So those things are promising.
I talked to Mazzell's dad, and I said, look, I'm excited if Mazzell gets on the field because we all know he really had 200 yards against Mississippi State.
Boys and girls, this is the part of the show where I make you look just a little more sexier moving forward, okay? Anywhere worth going is worth going in a nice pair, the perfect pair of boots from Tecovas. In 2015, Tecovas was born out of Texas, created the perfect pair, handcrafted this beautiful, sexy piece of leather to go over your foot to make your wife or your husband go, damn, baby. That's what Tecovas does for you, okay? And not only that, what makes them so fantastic is their experience when you go to the store. You are treated like royalty. They roll out the red carpet. You walk in, beverage in hand. What can I do for you today, sir? Bam! Want one of those. Try them on. Rock and roll. Look good. Feel good. Play good, baby. That's what Tecovas does for you. We are pumped to be teamed up with Tecovas. So be sure to go check out Tecovas. Head on over to Tecova right now. Use the code. All right, don't use the code. What you're going to do is right now, 10% off at tecovas.com/hightop when you sign up for email and text. That's 10% off at tecovas.com/hightop. Not the code slash, right there. So tecovas.com/hightop. See site for details. Tecovas, point your toes west. I'm back to the show. Very true. Look, I think that's someone who we should be excited to see as well on Saturday. So let's take a look at by the numbers really quick. We kind of talked this game out, and it's been fantastic talking about it. But defensively, again, Georgia ranked 20th. Tennessee, Miami, Kentucky ranked 19th now, I believe. So just in front of them. Even still, they were a third when we played them. They dropped obviously with the game that we gave them. So we essentially have faced four defenses harder on paper than Georgia. Again, I understand what Georgia brings to time. I'm just giving you by the numbers. No emotions here. Offense, pretty even keeled. Our offense has improved week over week, so that's good to see. Rushing offense, we take the W. You just heard what Lou said, that they haven't ran the ball. So how much can we
Yeah.
take, truth to this 95? Like, because they've potentially, it seems like, have not tried to not run it. Passing offense, they ranked 13th. But again, is that skewed a little bit given the fact that they're throwing the ball 65% of the time? That number is going to be amplified a little bit, right? Doesn't necessarily mean that they're better passing offense than Florida. Their numbers just are maybe a little inflated given how they're running their offense. I think this is a pretty healthy, even matchup, to be honest with you, with
Yeah.
the offense on both rushing and passing.
Yeah, I mean, passing offense, I mean, as long as they're being successful down the field, I mean, like, you can look back at that 2020 Kyle Trask team and say, hey, we couldn't run the ball worth a flip, but our ranking is so high because we passed the ball. No, we were very successful passing the ball. Georgia's been able to do that. They've struggled at times. Carson Beck's threw some picks and all that too. He's struggling with new receivers and having to lose Raw Thomas, Colby Young. And I was going to mention that, but Lou already mentioned that anyway. So he's having to learn with new receivers on the fly during the season that are young as well. So yeah, he's going to struggle there a little bit. I think Florida can take advantage there. Also, rushing offense. I think Jaden Ball has been really, really good. And I think that Jacoby's been really good too, as well. I mean, man, he's been breaking tackles. You got a healthy Tran Webb. It looks like that's off this list. I don't know if he plays or not, but I mean, just looking at everything, and then I even pulled up some PFFs while you guys were talking because I was actually like really, really intrigued by the way their offensive line's been playing in pass protection. So I wanted to pull up the numbers real quick. We have two guys rated well into the 80s, like 85, 86. Brendan Crenshaw, Dixon, Jake Slaughter, who's going to probably be really, really good in the NFL. Jake Slaughter there. But I mean, you look at it, the offensive line in pass protection plays only is only giving up 3 sacks. Now, I know Lagway's taken more sacks than that. I think he's taken about 6, but they don't account for the quarterback running around, maybe doing something, probably almost getting to the line of scrimmage and then taking a sack. They don't count that. They account for, like, if you're in the pocket throwing the football,
Whose fault
is it getting down the field or is he getting sacked? So they've only given up 3 sacks in pass protection. So I think that's pretty good. I think Florida's offensive line this game could probably surprise Georgia on their D line. Now, Georgia's got one monstrous D line too. So that matchup for Florida is going to be really, really tough. But I think Florida could surprise them with their offensive line this game.
I agree, and that's, again, they have been executing. If you go watch the film, they have been doing their job, and it could be a true turning point for the rest of the season. I think this will be the hardest defensive line they will be facing. Texas has a good one too, but I just think what's left, this will be the hardest defensive line they've faced. Georgia leads the rush defense 22-94, and then pass offense 38-47, with pretty even keel there. And look, I think that's where we're going to be able to have to capitalize on Carson Beck is our pass defense, our pass rush, which has improved dramatically. Defensively, we rank 74th, but and I think there's a little bit skewed there because there has definitely have been a flip since the bye week. I would argue that we're probably higher rated than what our numbers show, just given the improvement over the last few weeks. And I understand the teams you can argue haven't been that great, but you can tell there's been a different tempo, a different pulse of that defense. So look, this game is much closer than it has been, like I said, in the last 3 years. Those things excite me. The biggest thing is, can you carry it into that momentum, and can you carry that energy going into this week?
Well, I also think the big change there too is they're not rotating people all the time like they were at the beginning of the year.
Sure.
I think once you stopped rotating people, you had your guys, you knew who your guys were. I think that's when you started to see an uptick on the offensive line, pass protection wise, uptick on defense. Now, of course, they haven't been a elite defense, but they've been a way more improved defense than what we've seen last year and the year before. So I have to tip my hat to Billy Napier, listening to the players, not rotating them as much, sticking to his guns, sticking to some guys that he can count on. And this defense has improved, and this offensive line has improved. We'll see how improved they are, obviously, against one of the way tougher teams in the nation coming to Jacksonville.
Brandon made a good point too when he was texting me, is that the tight end play of Georgia has always been fantastic. It's not the same as Brock Bowers brings to the table, but we haven't really faced a team that utilizes their tight ends at all. It was tight end week last Sunday that they had, I think, 11 tight ends get a touchdown in the NFL. That's part of the game that I think you could sometimes teams overlook, even in the NFL. we've overlooked it a little bit. Hayden Hansen has been underappreciated.
Yeah, he's been
Just
playing
because
good.
of his blocking has been phenomenal. If you go watch the film, that guy is everywhere on the football field, and when he's open, he's there too. So maybe we can even get some of that tight end play involved as
I,
well because
I've noticed. I've noticed he's gotten more open this year.
yeah, he's been fantastic. We're just not throwing the ball. I think DJ looks for the long ball, which I don't hate either. So let's read a couple comments and then we'll get ready for pickups. Let me get Tyler here. Gator Wave says $2 says what's your head don't know your ass will feel. And then Levi $5 says thank you. Levi says Gators win a close one. Ladies and gents, smash the like and subscribe button. These boys put in some serious work for us to talk smack. We do 400 strong. Almost an hour in. I do appreciate y'all always showing love and subscribing. But let's